Welcome back to Fujitsu Forum TV, where we continue to bring you live and exclusive coverage of events here at Fujitsu Forum 2019. It has been a busy 2 days. We've welcomed guests from more than 80 countries around the world. They've all descended on the ICM in Munich to come and see the latest innovations from Fujitsu and understand the latest thinking around how technology can address key challenges that your business and society is facing. But more than that, technology can also unlock great value. Earlier on, you may have seen the keynote with the brilliant Dr. Joseph Reger, who was helping us understand the journey from mathematical optimization through to industrial optimization. I'm delighted to say he's come and joined us. So if you've not seen the keynote, please go and take a look at it, because it's absolutely fascinating. It was a real mathematical lesson for myself, Dr. Joseph.
Thank you.
I find it really interesting that technology has exploded and there's this demand for optimization. For the benefit of viewers, can you just give us a bit of an overview of the trends that are out there and why optimization is so important?
You know, the interesting thing is that it's not so much that there is a new technology or a new challenge that forces us to do more optimization. It's just that we are in a different place on the curve than we used to be. And since most of the technologies and most of the challenges and business issues around us have a very nasty nature in that they become increasingly more complex, in fact exponentially so, with the larger world, with the better connected world, with the more components, with the more vehicles, with the more traffic in the data networks, with the more production that we need, with the more robots that we use, we are actually in a different place on that exponential curve now, so it hurts more, the need is higher, and therefore conventional methods stop working because we need something better and we need to come to the next step. So the complexity is it that forces us to look at all these new possibilities.
In your keynote earlier, you covered some great examples of how optimization is impacting industry, ports traffic, telecommunications, I saw. Just how impactful is optimization going to be, do you think?
Well, optimization will change some of the industries to the level that we will not recognize them. But in the most cases, it will just help them to do their business much better. Okay. It is disruptive in a sense, if you want, but it's not disruptive in that sense that will obliterate entire industries. On the contrary, it helps entire industries to stay competitive and do new approaches to their business. So if you want, optimization is a method for improvement, for constant, as the word also expresses to some extent. They will be able to optimize their business, their footprint, and all other aspects of it. We need to be mindful of the fact that it's not, we cannot stand still. Alone, for the same kind of business, the requirements are growing because there is the environmental footprint that needs to get better and better. So there are whole industries, if they just stay the way they are, they still have a lot to do, namely to reduce the environmental footprint and so on. And therefore, I mean that the biggest thing that optimization can do, it gives an additional instrument into the hands of many companies to improve their current businesses in many and partially new ways.
When we look back at technology history, the transistor, the microprocessor, the internet, they all started quite narrow and then they scaled quickly. Do you think the same will be said of the ability to solve complex optimization problems?
It will have to be so, but not so much because the technology is restricted.
Okay.
What needs to happen, though, for it to penetrate whole industries and many more than it does already, what will need to happen is that we need to generate the skill set. Companies will have to invest into people who understand the complexity of the optimization challenge, are familiar with the methodology, with the mathematical background of it, can design the functions that need to be optimized, and can use the available equipment where there is a whole armory that one can be used. At the very end of that spectrum, we have now very powerful quantum or quantum-inspired machinery that can be used for that. So it's a whole spectrum to use it in a meaningful way and find the right tool for the right problem requires skills. And those skills typically do not exist in companies these days. Perhaps the very large ones, the big international corporations do have them, but there are entire economies across Europe. Take the German economy, for example, where the Mittelstand, the medium enterprise, is so important, and typically they do not have these skills, and then we'll have to be investing in that and work with companies who can help them to solve these challenges, because optimization over time, just as your examples, the microprocessor and so on, will penetrate all areas. It just takes a bit of time, but when we have that, everybody will need to be able to use it in some way.
Google recently made a pretty bold statement. Quantum supremacy, they claim. Are we about to see true quantum breakthrough, or is that just press talk?
Well, that depends a little bit on what about to see means, and also what the breakthrough means. Now, I'm not trying to nitpick here, but about to see. So quantum computing will come onto the big stage in something like 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
We don't know that. It will have to do so. We will need it by that time desperately. Currently, as I try to emphasize in my keynote, most of the industrial optimization problems are actually very well suited for the available technology, which is the digital annealing technology by Fujitsu, which is not quantum, but quantum inspired.
Yeah.
So that can do a very good job already. But quantum computing will have to come at some point. Again, 5 to 10 years maybe. Difficult to say, and I don't really want to give an estimate here. But I have a problem with breakthrough as well. Because if breakthrough means that all of a sudden quantum computing is superior to anything else and will be used in all walks of life for all problems, that I don't see happening at all. Because quantum computing will just be one instrument, together with a number of others in the tool chest, well suited for certain problems, not well suited for others, and we will have to make educated choices. So it will be a mixed, a hybrid environment, and therefore a breakthrough, a shattering breakthrough in that sense is unlikely to happen. But what I hope will happen is a constant penetration and the constant conquering on more areas. So that's what's more likely to happen in my books.
There'll be a lot of people watching this thinking, okay, this makes a lot of sense. Optimization is probably something we need to be looking at. I'm sure they've had their interest piqued by the quantum-inspired digital annailer proposition Fujitsu have proudly put on display here. If you've got one message for the viewers on how to get started with optimization, what would it be, Dr. Joseph?
The one good way of starting is not to worry about how we solve the problem. Identifying the problem is actually a big step too. In a series of innovation workshops, those can be conducted with us, or internally the company can do that. It is very educational to find out where the pain points are, where the areas are, where a dramatic improvement would change the business. And then, in the second step, define the problem, describe it properly, because it's much easier to take it from there. And then we can see what kind of instruments, what kind of methods we are going to use, and if it takes a quantum-inspired computing approach, we can do that. We help customers to walk that journey, but it needs to start with an understanding of where the business benefits and where the business challenges are.
Fascinating as always, Dr. Joseph Reger. Thank you for talking to us. There's a couple of segments I want to call out which chimes with what Dr. Joseph was just telling us about. Media Day, we spoke to the brilliant Dr. David Snelling, who went into a lot of detail around digital annailer and the future of it. And in fact, he did predict 5 to 10 years on the quantum coming through. Go and take a look at that. It will add a bit of colour to what Dr. Joseph was talking about today. And also go and take a look at Joe Box's co-creation interviews. You'll hear about the design processes that have been spoken about as well, and it'll give you an insight into what Fujitsu can do for you. There is still plenty more to come from Fujitsu Forum TV this afternoon. We're on air till about 4:45 CET time today. And up next, we are going to take a look at an equally important topic, artificial intelligence, but doing it with the right ethics and morality. We've got a great panel coming your way that are going to help you understand why ethics is critically important in your delivery of AI. Stick with us, there's plenty more wonderful insight coming your way